all random deathmatch is something, you know, to move on to our next topic. How do you introduce someone to a MOBA that they've never, like introducing friends to MOBAs they've never played? I think that'd be a really interesting way to teach Kyle to play Dota. Just jump in.
The deathmatch?
Yeah, just on all random deathmatch. Here, we're just going to throw characters at you. Don't worry about item builds. Just figure out their skills. Figure out how they compete against other heroes, who you can combine skills with.
That sounds amazing. That sounds like a fun time. Because then you get the rotation. You're like, oh, this guy really sucks. I'm dying with him. But then I also feel like I'd be super angry if I was like, oh, I'm having a lot of fun, and then I get destroyed because I'm just really bad at the game. Or,
and then the next game you'd be like, who was the guy that I was on the 5th life with the guy?
Nobody knows.
He was red. He ran around. He could go real fast.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's probably a downside. But I do agree that that's a great way to learn a game is ARAM, the random deathmatch. It's good because you get a good taste of all the champions and skill sets. Yeah.
I've never actually had to introduce anybody to a MOBA. I've never had to be the guy who was like, okay, I'm going to baby step you through how to use the shop, how to use these builds, how to succeed with, in a mid lane, how to support in the off lane, how to whatever. Like, I've never had to be the person who taught someone to play a MOBA. I imagine it takes an enormous amount of patience.
Former co-host Leah B. Jackson.
She
lost a year of her life every time she introduced someone to a MOBA.
Yeah, exactly. It was horrendous, and I can't imagine doing it. But I'm wondering, like, if you guys haven't done it before, how you would go about doing it. Like, as we think about getting more and more of our friends involved in these things, and we get most of the letters we receive for the show, arena-podcast@ign.com, subscribe on youtube.com/ign-arena. We get a ton of questions about, I play League of Legends, but my friends play Dota or they don't play MOBAs. How do I baby step them into it? And I don't know that I have an answer, so I'm hoping that you guys can provide the interesting conversation for this topic.
Oh, man. That's a good question. Just how do you get them baby stepped in? And it's such a unique world and game and like video game genre, the all random games is a good way if you can do it. I don't think I'm not too sure. I haven't leveled up an account in a long time if it's immediately available.
It's level 5, which is I understand they want to introduce you to Summer's Rift and everything. Yeah. I also think they should just open that up from the beginning. You really should just be able to be like, oh, let's just do characters.
I would agree.
Like introducing you to ARAM, I think we had one of the best matches I've ever played in ARAM where another friend of ours, Aditya, and I were like, oh, let's just go play. And then he and I were like, we're just going to have fun. Like, we were like burning flashes right at the beginning of the match. And I was playing Volibear and I was just charging. And I was like, I'm just going to throw him over my shoulder, take this guy. And like, we had that was probably the most fun I've ever had playing League. Because I was like, we were just gonna, we knew we won, but we didn't know if we were going to win. So we were like, let's just have fun.
I like that. Pro tip number 1, don't care about winning. That's the best way to do it. Like, just go in really lighthearted, prepared to just, prepare for failure because you're teaching somebody new, and just try to enjoy it and try to make fun things happen.
Yeah, if you're less focused on winning and more focused on improving, you're going to have a way better time 99% of the time you play.
So what I would do is...
Pro tip number 2.
You ready? Well, this is sort of like a process, though. It's going to be hard to condense this down.
Pro tip number 2, the journey.
Yes. So when you start a match, you're like, okay, where are we laning? What items do we start with? There's all these things you think about. Don't involve the new person in any of that. Just say, like, buy this. Just get them out in the lane with you. Tell them exactly where to go. Don't tell them why they're going there. Like, just get to, like, the fun part as early as possible, which is, like, killing things with your skills, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So I would just go lane with a new person, make sure they have exactly what you told them to, and go where they are.
And play OP champs.
Yeah. Play heroes maybe who can, like, spam abilities. I don't know. Like, you want them to have fun and immediately just think, like, this is, like, teach them about last hitting and, like, attacking
denies
with their skills
and things like
I would even hold off on denies.
Well, yeah, that's the stuff that can wait, right? Like item builds and denies and proper laning combos and roaming and ganking. Like all of that stuff is super important, but don't worry about it. That person does not need to know that right away.
The thing that like it's this massive map. You're right. Okay, you're like, oh wow, look at all this jungle space. Look at this river. What's going on? But like, you're pretty much glued to your tower unless you're like an early roamer, and people don't realize that.
Yeah,
because it's weird. It doesn't. You don't do that in other games. So I would try to like beat that into someone's head as early as possible.
Yeah.
Like you stay by this and you are fine.
Stay by the thing that kills stuff really quickly. And spam abilities.
Yes. How do you guys feel about Smurfs? Because I know it's like kind of frowned upon, but I still think it's actually a kind of good teaching tool because you rather than bring someone up to your MMR where they're just not going to have fun sometimes, you can like go to an MMR where you can like it's equal footing.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how this
equal footing where because you have a step up, but
I don't know how this works in League of Legends. But in Dota, what I would recommend with that in mind, instead of going into a game and having a Smurf account and going through the process of making a new whatever, like use the coaching feature. Like if I am trying to learn Dota and James is experienced, I can join a game with James as my coach, and that doesn't affect the MMR, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't believe that shoots it up to your MMR.
It should not.
Great.
How does the coaching feature work?
So the coach is in the game present as a player who doesn't have a character. And basically what James can do is when he pings the map or anything in the shop or anything on my menu, it alerts me that like coach is pinging here. And he can draw on the map saying like, go here.
That's a great
Yeah,
feature.
it's another eye. It's like you're watching for the runes to spawn in the river. That's not in League, but like
It's basically a
someone
spectator
doesn't
that
have
can
to-
interact.
Yeah.
With a no delay, which is the best part.
Yeah,
That's-
like it's live in the game.
That's a really good feature. I didn't know about that feature.
It's great.
That'd be awesome in League.
Yeah, League League you have to kind of smurf. Like,
Got it.
I don't know who. Oh, yeah, I know who we're gonna play. But I created a smurf because I was gonna teach someone to play League, and that's the best way to do it because that person I know has not a ton of like PC experience, so it's like it's easier for me to just be like, all right, I'm not even gonna try to have you play with the people that I play with.
Yeah, these next level people who know what they're doing all the time and just
Yeah.
they just want to party. Pro tip number 3, 4. I don't know what we're at now. When you bring somebody on board, like if we're gonna teach Kyle, obviously it'd be awesome to have him like join us in all random to just get the hang of skills and all these characters and compositions and stuff. But the best way to teach somebody who doesn't know what they're doing is to just have them play the same character over and over and over. And find out what they want to do. If they want to get kills or if they just want to support, find them an easy, appropriate character for that role and just have them stick with it. That way they can understand the process of building items. They understand what those items are. They know how to support or how to get kills. They know the skill build. They know all of that stuff. And then from there, it's easier to branch out.
I still do that even now. Like I'm on a Spectre kick. She's like one of the hardest carries in Dota 2.
Spectre's a woman?
Yes.
Wow, I did not know that.
Right? That's-
Know your lore.
Yeah, exactly. So I played her, thought she was kind of cool, and now I just like keep playing her and playing her and playing her
Yeah.
and doing different builds and seeing different matchups. And people are like, aren't you bored? And I'm like, no. I'm like, this is how I learn this character.
Yeah.
You just keep going, and it works. You need to know how they act in different situations.
I learned a fun fact at PAX this weekend. Someone from Valve was telling me that the retention rate for players in Dota 2 who play 5 or more matches, like the probability that they will play 50 matches after 5 matches goes up by like an enormous amount.
Wow.
Like people who bail before 5 are like they're done. But if you play 5 matches, your likelihood that you're going to play 50 is significant.
I'm actually. It seems like it's just stats and boring stuff, but I'm actually really interested in all that.
Yeah, I would love
yeah.
to see that too. Yeah.
I would love to see like the dumb graphs they have for all that, like the probability of
Yeah, I was watching
squiggly lines.
Alex. Is he at Sony now?
Alex Monet? No, he. Oh God, Perfect World.
Anyway, wherever he's at, I was watching him
Alex,
play
yeah.
Dota last night. I was spectating and just
Friend of ours,
having
Alex,
dinner.
who works in PR.
And he's at like 10 wins or something, and I think he's hooked now.
Yes.
He just keeps playing Drow Ranger. He just keeps
Yep.
trying different items.
There are a few people when they sign on in Dota, because my friends list on that is pretty big on Steam. Like in League, it's like, oh, these are my League of Legends friends. But
Yeah.
on Steam, it's like these are people that I played Battlefield with 5 years ago. And it's weird to see them sign on and be like, what are you doing here?
This is not
Can I
your
help
realm.
you? And I see that more and more. I think like after TI4, I think a lot of people are getting more interested. So now
Yeah.
people are kind of getting like MOBA fever. And now is the time to like take advantage of that if you would like more people to play with you.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's that as soon as money starts being obvious in any sort of video game, you're like, oh, people are going to be way more interested.
Yeah, and the fact that it's free makes that barrier to entry. Even though the game is like impossible to understand in any capacity, like, oh, I can play League of Legends for free. All right,
Done.
I'll
Yeah.
download it. No problem.
I think one last tip, and this is like such situational, is that you have a friend. Like I'm not that great, but if I wanted to bring someone into Dota 2, I'd have them play with our friend Crispy. Because you want someone who can just obviously carry a game into oblivion. Because Crispy is a guy, he will get 90% of the kills, and it will be like 50 kills.
Yeah, if you can play with somebody who is very skilled, but who can also teach you things on the fly, like they can micromanage your life while they're getting kills.
While carrying the game.
Right on. That's the way to do it. Like find that friend if you want to learn a MOBA.
I mean, and Crispy's also unique because he's just having fun. He has fun. Like he'll just be like, "Cool, I'm gonna buy 2 rapiers, and we're gonna go around and farm until we get that, and then we're gonna crush them."
Winning and getting kills is pretty fun though. So I'm
That's
sure
true.
That's why.
If you have suggestions or comments, leave those on this page or on youtube.com/ign-arena, where you can subscribe to this podcast.